A highly respected African nurse and her only daughter have been jailed, and the nurse has been struck off the register. If you know anyone that send money back home, kindly ensure that they see this, because there are valuable lessons that can be learned from the story of Nurse Stella. Let's go to the beginning of this story. The story is very, very important. Nurse Stella, she is in her 50s. She is a respected nurse and a devoted Catholic. She has a daughter, her only daughter, named Vanessa. Vanessa is in her 30s. She's a high-flying, successful businesswoman who led a delegation to the Commonwealth Youth Conference. Now, by many years, Stella has served the NHS, and she is relied upon by staff that she has worked with, colleagues that she has worked with, and patients. She hasn't got any criminal record before this incident. Now, Stella's life was going well. She was doing very, very well, and she and her daughter, they thought everything was going well for them. Like many Africans, her life revolved around family responsibility, helping others, and standing by your own blood no matter what. Stella has a brother named Joshua. Joshua is in his 30s. He comes from a devoted Catholic background. In 2004, Joshua was sentenced to prison. When he was sentenced to prison, he converted to Islam. Prior to that, he was an engineer who was doing really, really well. When Joshua was sentenced, he came out and he became a Muslim. One day, Joshua told the family members that he was leaving London, and he disappeared. They didn't hear from him again. They were worrying, where was this man? No announcement, no warning, only a short note left to the mom saying, "Mom, I love you and I'm gone." He had fled the UK, and he ended up in where you would never thought, Syria of all places. He found himself in Syria, and he believed he was doing the right thing. He was going to fight for a cause that he believed at that time was the right cause. He saw violence as a purpose. And from that moment, Stella and her family's life were torn apart. They were worried if they would ever see their beloved brother Joshua again. But guess what? The story did not end there. Joshua was all the way in Syria living his life. One fateful day, Stella's phone rang, and the next thing she heard when she picked the phone was, "Hello, Jendi, Ugambechi, Sebo, Olombulunji." It was his brother. "Now you know that I am partly Uganda, and we speak Sebo Ngabachi, and we eat matoke." Shout out to my Uganda brothers and sisters. The brother said, "I am struggling. I have no money. I might not survive." When Stella heard that, she panicked. My brother that we grew up together, that I loved unconditionally, should I allow my brother to die? When she saw the picture of Joshua, Joshua looked like a skeleton, and Stella was touched and moved. The story did not end there. There was no mention of weapon or terrorism. Stella faced a difficult situation, a dilemma, you can call it that. She was forced. She could not have contact. She could have contacted the authority or sought guidance, but instead, she decided to help her brother. She started sending money to her brother. She was sending money through Uganda. At that time, the daughter was in Uganda doing a business in Uganda. So she would send the money through the daughter. The daughter would send the money from Uganda to the middle to Lebanon, and the money would not end up in Syria to the brother. They were sending the money to the brother. And that time, Joshua was still in Syria. Joshua was captured by the Syrian Defense Force in 2019. His absence reshaped the family of those he left behind, leaving family with grief, unanswered question, and growing fear. They did not hear from Joshua for a long time when he was captured. In fact, the family thought Joshua was gone. What they didn't know is that this story is far from over. It's going to take a new twist, and hopefully somebody will learn from the case of this family. Now, in 2019, after Joshua was captured, investigators, they started piecing together how did this young man from London ended up in Syria. They were checking. They followed every transfer. They searched his things. They found ID card, hard drive on his computer. And when they put the picture together, the authority reached a shocking conclusion. The money ended up supporting someone fighting for ISIS. The authorities were shocked. A few years later, Joshua contacted tuberculosis while he was in custody and he passed away. But here is the shocking part. After Joshua passed away, the authorities started putting together, they found Western Union in his pocket. And the Western Union started giving them a clue about how people sent more than £1,800 to this young man who was in Syria. That is where Stella again came to life. Stella thought, oh, the brother has passed. She's moved on with her life. Guess what happened? When the authority found out that it was Stella and her daughter Vanessa that sent the money to Joshua, they sent the money about 5 times from London, Uganda to Lebanon, Lebanon to Syria. The daughter, who is well-educated businesswoman, a woman who was due to get married to the love of her life, and everything was going on for this family. That is where Stella was jailed for 3 years. When Stella was jailed for 3 years, her daughter was jailed for a long time. The daughter probably thought she was helping her mom to support her uncle in Syria. And when Stella was jailed, the Nursing and Midwifery Council said, despite the fact that you are in jail, now they said they've made a final decision. She was permanently banned from the Nursing Council, not suspended, no review. The career that she has worked hard, built a life and a career for herself in the UK. Remember, the daughter was just a few months away from getting married to the love of her life. She was crying endlessly in court. She could not believe. The judge made something very clear. There is no proof that neither Stella or her daughter had any sympathy for ISIS or any terrorist group. They thought they were trying to help their brother, whom they saw the picture and they were moved. But the judge warned them that she turned a blind eye to what the money could be used for. And in the Western law, this is not enough for you to say, I was only trying to help my brother. So what are the lessons that Africans and other immigrants can learn from this case? Well-intent support to family members abroad can have serious legal consequence. Sending money without verification could unintentionally contribute to activities like terrorism, drug trafficking, crime. Choice made abroad can affect your career, your reputation, your freedom, and you could lose everything that you have worked for overnight because you are trying to save somebody that you called a brother. Some people say Stella and her daughter were confronted with a dilemma of trying to save the brother that they love unconditionally, and because of that, they were thinking with their heart instead of their head. What would you do if you confront the same situation? Would you do what Stella and her daughter did, or would you alert the authority? Let me know what your views are in the comment section. The source of this story, as you can see, is from the Daily Mail newspaper. Anyone that wants to read up on this story can read up on it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you soon. Merry Christmas.